And of course, we're seeing a lot of damage around the area from the severe weather moving through.
Yeah, let's get right to our Kimberly Howard, who's live in Central Park in Schenectady. And Kimberly, quite a bit of damage there.
Yeah, that's right. Ann and Cody, it's simply a mess here. Take a look at this massive tree here behind me. This is laying across Iroquois Way here, one of the many entrances to the park. You can actually see where the tree split from his trunk up top there. And that's just some of the damage that we're seeing here. There's limbs all over the place, all over the park. Take a look here behind me. You can see lots of pooling there. That's not a pond. That's from the heavy rain that we were seeing. If you take a look too, you can see the pavilion right in front of it, limbs all over the place. The pool is back there, the duck pond, that's all covered with limbs. We saw a couple of kids walking through. They said that they saw the rose garden, which is actually behind some of these pavilions and the playground here. They say the rose garden is a mess too, so you can just tell because of that heavy rain and wind that we were experiencing. You can see just kind of what it has done to this area of Schenectady. We know that there's more than 5,500 customers in this county who don't have any power. And when you see slides like this, it's pretty obvious as to why undoubtedly some of these trees possibly coming down on power lines, causing those folks to be in the dark at this point. So yeah, again, a big mess here. Again, this is Iroquois Way, a main entrance. You can see the building, the men's and women's bathroom here behind me. We have the baseball field over here. Everything just simply a mess here in Central Park in Schenectady. We'll send it back to you guys. Ann and Cody live in Schenectady. Kimberly Howard, CBS 6 News.
All right, Kimberly, thanks so much. You know, we're seeing a lot of damage in Schenectady, and our crews are throughout the city right now as they watch all these people basically try to pick up the damage. A lot of trees down in roads. We heard some power lines down, as Kimberly saw, trees down at Central Park.
Yeah, we're hearing reports of hail as well. At least one report of 1-inch hail in Schenectady. We want to get right out to Hubert Wiggins, who's in Schenectady along Union Street, where we've seen some damage as well. Hubert?
Yeah. Ann and Cody, thank you. We were at the county jail in the neighborhood of 3 o'clock working on another story when the rain began to fall, and it was around 4 o'clock that there was a lot of heavy rain and some hail, and we were told to come back to the station. And to get to our Schenectady studios, we drove up Union, and our path was blocked by this tree that, a couple of hours later is still on the road. We are near the intersection of Union Street and Garner Avenue, and when we had to take the detour, we drove on the side roads and then up Eastern Parkway, and for several blocks you could see a lot of downed trees on the road and also in lawns. And when we were here around 4:30, some police officers arrived in the scene and were inspecting the situation, and the cars were still going around the trees, but since we've left and then come back, we now see that this yellow tape, caution tape, has been put up so people are not able to pass through this section here. I also spoke to someone from the fire department who came to take some pictures, and what I originally thought were down power lines, it was actually some cable lines that this particular tree knocked down when it fell down. And as we have been sort of driving around the area, again, you see a lot of trees that are down. And also, as we were driving up Union Street around 4:30, there were some intersections that were flooded, and you could see the cars driving through the water and causing a lot of splashing. But it appears that the storm in Schenectady is over. The skies that were dark a little while ago have gotten a little bit lighter. There's still lots of clouds in the area, but obviously it stopped raining right now. And now, I guess for a lot of people, the issue is going to be the cleanup, because as I've said, on both Union and Eastern, there is a lot of damage, a lot of trees and branches down on those two streets. And Cody?
Hubert, stay safe out there. Steve LaPointe was telling me just a moment ago that they're estimating that the winds through Schenectady were 50 to 60 miles an hour.
Wow, and there's still severe weather moving through our area. Let's get to Steve for more on that. Steve?
Yeah, still tracking the very big storm that's now over Manchester and Bennington County. This was the storm that had the tornado warning on it. That tornado warning expired at 5:45. Severe thunderstorm warning, however, continues. It is a very strong storm. It has intensified once again. It continues to rotate, and that means the probability for damaging wind, large hail remains very, very high as it's going through Manchester Center. It won't be too long, though, before it exits Bennington County and exits our area. So this is getting a pretty big hit right now with the rain and the hail, and again, the potential for wind. Also back here, Cosseyune on south to Cambridge. That was the big cluster of storms coming across Saratoga County, and the tail of that now just coming out of Stillwater and Mechanicville. So that's going across portions of northwest and northern Rensselaer County with lightning strikes as well. Severe thunderstorm warning for all of this area through about 6:15 for the potential of wind from the main cell, the lead cell here, the supercell, and then this more linear structure back in here. Not seeing rotation or circulation with that cluster, but still a damaging wind and probably a smaller hail threat as this moves off to the east. Manchester up to Dorset. This is kind of making a beeline towards your area down to Cambridge. So you've been hit once, you get hit again with that big cluster of storms. Live instant Doppler 6, though, showing that's really the main show right now. Little cluster of non-severe showers and thunder showers back here on the Otsego-Schoharie County line. We'll watch it for potential development, but at this point not doing too much, and we're seeing a little bit here in Montgomery County as well. Some storms in Columbia and Berkshire County, but these are fairly weak at this time. Tornado watch still in effect through 10 o'clock. It's been shaved back across central New York, but remains in effect at least at this point. So the severe weather threat does look to continue, especially for these northern areas, Washington, Bennington, and northern Rensselaer counties for about at least the next half an hour or so. Cody and Ann?
All right,
Thank you,
Steve, thanks. We're also tracking some damage throughout our area, as we said, in Schenectady, one of the hard-hit areas so far that we've been able to get a camera on. Let's go out to Emily DeFisciani, who's on Eastern Parkway. Emily, what are you seeing?
It just stopped raining, but a few minutes ago it was downpouring. I can tell you I have a soaking wet photographer behind that camera, and there are so many trees down here right now on Eastern Parkway. I want to give you a better look. Over here is one of the largest trees. It spans across 3 different yards. I've seen neighbors that are already trying to do their best to cut it or saw it or just minimize the damage. And then over on the other side, there's another large tree that was split right in half. That is going across about 2 yards. As you can see, it is on that house. Not sure if there is going to be a significant amount of damage there, but as I said, neighbors a lot of them are just coming home from work right now to discover this damage. They had no idea anything would be this bad. There are also a lot of traffic lights down. I just spoke with Schenectady police. They are asking people to remember to drive safely and to understand that with the lights down, traffic is going to be backed up a little bit. Cody?
All right, Emily DeFisciani reporting live in Schenectady. Thanks so much.
And we're going to take a short break here, as we'll be back in just a couple of minutes as severe weather coverage continues. Severe weather has been rolling through the capital region. Down trees, power outages, we're seeing a lot of them, and we're going to get right to Steve LaPointe with the latest now.
All right, Ann, yeah, the severe storm that's produced the widespread damage that we're seeing in Schenectady is now up in Manchester in Vermont. This was the storm the tornado warning was issued on. Right now, a severe thunderstorm warning for it. It has pulsed up. Nasty, nasty weather from Sunderland up to Manchester, especially in Vermont, with heavy rain up to Dorset. Seeing those very, very deep magenta colors here on the radar. And that's indicating that the updraft in the storm has increased, and it's producing likely some very large hail. You can still see a discernible inflow notch here, this little hook, and National Weather Service has just kind of issued a new severe thunderstorm for it to take up the rest of Bennington County that was not covered. It's kind of a hodgepodge of warnings here, but right in there, severe thunderstorm warning in advance of that storm. It's Bennington going into northern Windham County until 6:45 with a northeastward bead on this. We'll do a cross section because it really is very, very impressive. This storm top is up to at least 50 to possibly 55,000 feet. That is a very powerful updraft, and again, it continues to rotate. So severe weather probability remaining very high for probably the next 10 minutes or so over Manchester, and then it will clear Bennington County and move across portions of northern Windham County. Following that, we have strong storms warned on. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect now for much of central southern Washington County and also Bennington County for this cluster as that is coming in from the west. So Salem down to Cambridge, a lot of lightning with that. Easton and Easton Mechanicville, there's kind of been a new little core that has formed down in here, a little ball of intense deep red that's moving into Scaticoke and Millerton and will just scrape to the north of Melrose right now. Here's live instant Doppler 6. That's the broad perspective. So again, the main cluster of storms there, and that is across portions of Washington and Bennington counties. We're really not seeing all that much off to the south and to the east. A little bit of development trying here across eastern Otsego and northwestern Schoharie County, and they're actually just beyond the radar's range. A couple of additional showers and thunderstorms. The front itself that's helped to spark all of this is still to our west. So the potential is there, even as this big cluster goes out in about the next half an hour to an hour. If it even takes that long, there could be some additional development. So tornado watch does continue for all of eastern New York, western New England, with the exception of Rutland County, and that's up until 10 o'clock tonight. tonight. Much more on this, of course, in the next couple of minutes. Ann.
So much, Steve. We want to give you an update on power outages. National Grid is reporting thousands of customers are without power right now. At last check, the website reported more than 5,500 customers in Schenectady County are without power, most of those in the city of Schenectady. National Grid says 214 people are also without power in Schoharie County, and we do have crews throughout the area tracking this for you. Steve continues to track the storms on the radar, and we'll bring you more as our newscast continues. We're also getting reports of damage around the area right now. Schenectady seems to be hit pretty hard, and we have our Kimberly Howard out at Central Park right now tracking the damage there for you. Kimberly, are you with me?
Central Park in Schenectady. Take a look. This massive tree here, you can see that it split right near the base. This is just one example of the damage that we're seeing around here in Central Park. Limbs just all over the place. Just a mess. I want to show you something back here. If you take a look right through here, you can see this tree that collapsed, kind of making a haven. We can kind of navigate through all these limbs. Take a look at this. This looks like this was some sort of little haven here in the park, destroyed. This tree came right down on top of it. I'm not sure if Cooper can also show too, my photographer here. The gate there was also damaged, the gate around the playground here in Central Park. That's just some of the damage. We've been speaking with a couple of folks who have been in the park. There was one couple that felt like they couldn't get out of the park because there was two different exits that they tried, and there was trees, massive trees that were down. One of those massive trees across Iroquois Way. So damage all over this park. There's still people that are now that the rain has kind of died down, there's people walking through the park kind of surveying the damage. Actually, take a look right here. There's a gentleman here on his bicycle just checking things out. So definitely a lot of damage. We know that the duck pond and the swimming pool and the pavilion, that's right in the area where we are right here in Central Park, and there is just down trees and limbs all over the place. As you mentioned, 5,500 customers in Schenectady in Schenectady County alone. No power in the dark, and you can see why with this type of damage. I want to throw it over to my